The envelope felt like fire in her hands. $10,000 in crisp hundreds, more money than she'd seen in her entire life. But it wasn't the cash that made her stomach turn. It was the note attached. For services rendered. Do not contact me again. D. 3 years had passed since that night. 3 years since Dante Moretti had looked at her like she was nothing. Like she was disposable. But he didn't know what she'd left behind. He didn't know about the little boy with his dark eyes and that same dangerous smile. This is a story that will grip you from beginning to end. If you want to know how it all began and where this journey leads, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Every view counts. The diner smelled like burnt coffee and broken dreams. Maya Rodriguez had been on her feet for 11 hours straight, her second shift of the day, and her lower back screamed with every step. But she couldn't stop. Not when rent was due in 3 days. Not when Leo needed new shoes because he'd outgrown his old ones again. She wiped down table 6 for the 3rd time, even though it was already spotless. Anything to look busy. Anything to avoid her manager's scrutinizing gaze. Maya. Table 12. Jerry's voice cut through the dinner rush chaos. She grabbed her notepad and turned toward the back booth, then froze. The air shifted. Conversations didn't stop exactly, but they quieted. Dropped to whispers. Every head in the diner turned toward the entrance, and Maya understood why. 3 men in black suits entered first, their eyes scanning the room like predators assessing prey. Then he walked in. Dante Moretti. Even after 3 years, her body recognized him instantly. That commanding presence. The way he moved like he owned every space he entered, because he probably did. His suit probably cost more than her entire year's rent. Dark hair perfectly styled. Jaw sharp enough to cut glass. And those eyes, cold, calculating, dangerous. He'd aged. There were new lines around his eyes, a hardness that hadn't been there before. He looked like a man who'd seen too much, done too much, survived too much. Their eyes met across the diner. Something flickered in his expression. Recognition, maybe. But it vanished so quickly she might have imagined it. Her heart hammered against her ribs. He doesn't remember you, she told herself. You were nothing to him. One night 3 years ago. He probably doesn't even. The booth in the back, one of his men said to Jerry, though his eyes never left the room. Scanning for threats. Always scanning. Maya's hands trembled as she approached their table. She kept her head down, notepad raised like a shield. Welcome to Rosie's Diner. What can I get you? Espresso. Double shot. Black. His voice was exactly as she remembered. Deep, commanding, with that slight Italian accent that made every word sound like a threat or a promise. She scribbled the order without looking up. Anything else? Silence. She could feel his gaze on her. Heavy. Assessing. Do I know you? The question cut through her defenses. Her blood ran cold. No, sir. I just have one of those faces. She forced a smile, still not meeting his eyes. I'll get that espresso right. His hand shot out, fingers wrapping around her wrist. Not hard. Not painful. But firm. Unmovable. The touch sent electricity shooting up her arm. Memories crashed over her. His hands in her hair, his mouth on her skin, whispered words in Italian she didn't understand. Look at me. It wasn't a request. Slowly, Maya raised her eyes. Up close, he was even more devastating. And more dangerous. The air between them crackled with tension. Recognition dawned in his expression. His eyes widened fractionally, the only sign of surprise he'd allow. Dio mio, he breathed. Maya. She tried to pull away. His grip tightened. Let me go. Her voice came out steadier than she felt. What are you doing here? His accent thickened with emotion. Anger? Confusion? She couldn't tell. Working. Now please let go before my manager. You disappeared. The accusation hung between them. I woke up and you were gone. The audacity of it stole her breath. I disappeared? She wanted to laugh, to scream, to throw the coffee pot at his perfect face. You paid me to leave, she said quietly, carefully. I left. Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. That money was to make sure you were taken care of. Not to. He stopped. His jaw clenched. We need to talk. No, we don't. She yanked her wrist free. That was 3 years ago. Ancient history. Maya, your espresso will be right out. She turned and walked away on shaking legs. Behind her, she heard one of his men murmur something in Italian. Dante's response was sharp, angry. In the kitchen, Maya leaned against the counter, trying to breathe. Her wrist still burned where he'd touched her. He can't know about Leo, she thought desperately. He can never know. But when she returned with his espresso 5 minutes later, Dante was staring at her left hand. At the simple silver ring she wore on her right finger, Leo's birthstone embedded in the band. His eyes traveled up to meet hers. And she knew, with absolute certainty, that he knew she was hiding something. What aren't you telling me? His voice was soft, deadly. Maya set down the espresso with a trembling hand. Enjoy your coffee, sir. She turned to leave. I'll be back tomorrow, he called after her. Not a threat. A promise. And every day after that until you tell me the truth. Maya's world tilted on its axis. Because in the reflection of the diner window, she could see the black SUV parked outside. And standing next to it, waiting patiently, were 6 more men in black suits. Dante Moretti hadn't just stumbled into her diner by accident. He'd found her. And men like him didn't find people unless they wanted something. Maya's hands wouldn't stop shaking as she locked the diner's back door. It was past midnight. The streets were empty except for the occasional car and the ever-present sirens in the distance. She pulled her thin jacket tighter against the November cold and started the 6-block walk to the bus stop. She made it half a block before she realized she wasn't alone. The black SUV rolled alongside her, matching her pace. The window descended with a quiet hum. Dante sat in the back seat, his expression unreadable. Get in. No. Maya kept walking, eyes straight ahead. It's not safe for you to walk alone at this hour. I've been doing it for 3 years. I'm fine. The SUV stopped. She heard the door open. Footsteps behind her. Maya. His voice was closer now. Please. That single word, please, made her stop. Because men like Dante Moretti didn't say please. They commanded. They demanded. They took. She turned slowly. He stood 3 feet away, hands in his pockets, looking almost uncertain. It was jarring. Wrong. Like seeing a lion hesitate. What do you want from me? Her voice cracked. Answers. He took a step closer. You left that night without a word. Without taking the money. I spent months looking for you. Why? The question burst out before she could stop it. I was nobody. Just some girl you... She couldn't finish the sentence. You were never just anything. The intensity in his gaze made her breath catch. That night, he stopped, ran a hand through his hair, disturbing its perfect style. I woke up planning to take you to breakfast, to ask you to dinner. I don't know. Something. But you were gone. Because I found the envelope. Maya's throat tightened. $10,000 and a note telling me not to contact you. Message received loud and clear. His face went pale. What note? Don't play games with me. What note? He stepped closer, his voice sharp with urgency. Maya, I never left you a note. The money was from my wallet. I put it on the nightstand in case you needed a cab, needed breakfast, needed anything while I took a work call. But a note. He shook his head. Never. The world tilted. But it was there. It said, the memory was clear as day. The crisp white card stock. The black ink. For services rendered. Do not contact me again. D. Someone else left that note. His jaw clenched. Someone who didn't want you to stay. The pieces clicked into place. That morning, she'd heard voices in the hallway before she'd left. Multiple men arguing in Italian. Your people, she whispered. Not my people. His people. Dante's expression darkened. My father. He was alive then. Ran the family. He must have. He stopped, fury radiating off him in waves. He sent you away. Maya's mind reeled. All this time, she'd thought Dante had used her. Discarded her. Built walls around her heart because of a lie. I have to go. She started walking again, faster now. Maya, wait. No. This doesn't change anything. That night was a mistake. We're from different worlds. You're... She gestured at him, the SUV, the men watching from the shadows. This. And I'm me. It would never work. Let me drive you home at least. So you can see where I live? Figure out. She stopped herself just in time. His eyes narrowed. Figure out what? Nothing. Good night, Mr. Moretti. She turned the corner and broke into a run. Behind her, she heard him shout something in Italian. The SUV's engine revved. But she knew these streets better than his driver ever would. She ducked through the alley behind the laundromat, cut through Mrs. Chen's backyard, and emerged 3 blocks away. By the time she reached her apartment building, she was gasping for air. She took the stairs 2 at a time to the 3rd floor, fumbled with her keys, and practically fell through the door. Mrs. Park, her elderly neighbor who watched Leo while she worked, looked up from her knitting. Maya? Are you all right? Fine. I'm fine. Maya pressed her back against the door. How's Leo? An angel as always. He's sleeping. Mrs. Park gathered her things, concern etched in her wrinkled face. Child, you look like you've seen a ghost. More like the ghost of mistakes past, Maya thought. After Mrs. Park left, Maya crept into the tiny second bedroom. Leo lay sprawled across his toddler bed, dark hair falling across his forehead, long lashes casting shadows on his cheeks. He'd kicked off his blanket again. She covered him gently, her heart aching. He had his father's eyes, his father's hair. Even at 3 years old, she could see Dante in every feature. I'm sorry, baby, she whispered. I'm so sorry. The knock on her door made her jump. She knew, even before she looked through the peephole, who it would be. Dante stood in her hallway, and the expression on his face told her that he'd figured out her secret. Let me in, Maya. His voice was quiet, controlled, but underneath it, she heard the storm. Let me in, or I'll stand out here all night and wake up everyone in this building. With trembling hands, she opened the door. He stepped inside, his presence filling the tiny apartment. His eyes swept the space, the worn furniture, the toys scattered on the floor, the crayon drawings taped to the walls. Then his gaze landed on the photo on the side table. Maya and Leo at the park last summer. Leo's face smiling up at the camera, those dark Moretti eyes bright with joy. Dante picked up the photo with shaking hands. How old? His voice was barely a whisper. 3. He just turned 3. The photo frame shattered as it slipped from his fingers and hit the floor. Dante Moretti, the most powerful and feared man in New York's underworld, fell to his knees in her tiny living room. And Maya knew that everything was about to change. The silence stretched between them like a live wire. Dante remained on his knees, staring at the broken photo frame, his breath coming in harsh gasps. Maya had never seen him like this, raw, unguarded, shattered. "Say something," she finally whispered. His head snapped up. The look in his eyes stole her breath, fury and wonder and devastation all at once. 3 years. His voice was dangerously quiet. "You kept my son from me for 3 years. You didn't want to be contacted," Maya shot back, anger giving her courage. "The note said—" "I told you, I didn't write that note." He surged to his feet. "And you should have tried anyway. Should have called. Should have—" He stopped, his hands clenching into fists. "Dio! Maya! A son! I have a son. You have nothing." Maya stepped between him and the hallway where Leo slept. "You were a one-night stand that ended with me being paid off. I'm not going to expose my child to—" "Our child. My child. I'm the one who held him when he was sick, who walked the floors at night, who worked 2 jobs to keep a roof over his head. Where were you? I was looking for you." Dante's control finally snapped. "Do you have any idea how many private investigators I hired? How many hours I spent searching? You disappeared like a ghost and I—" He stopped, swallowed hard. "I thought maybe you were dead. Maybe someone had hurt you, taken you. The things I imagined." Maya's anger wavered. "Why did you care so much? It was just one night. It wasn't just anything." He closed the distance between them. "That night with you was the first time in my life I felt like a person instead of a weapon. Like I could be something other than what my father made me." His hand reached up, stopping just short of touching her face. "And when you were gone, it felt like someone had ripped out a piece of my soul." The raw honesty in his voice broke something inside her. "Dante, let me meet him." His voice cracked. "Please, let me meet my son." Before Maya could answer, a small voice called out from the hallway. "Mama." They both froze. Leo stood in the doorway, rubbing his eyes, his dinosaur pajamas rumpled from sleep. His dark hair stuck up in every direction. And those eyes, Dante's eyes, blinked sleepily at them. "I heard loud voices," Leo mumbled. "You okay, Mama?" Maya's throat closed. "I'm fine, baby. We have a visitor." Leo's gaze shifted to Dante, who stood frozen, staring at the boy like he was looking at a miracle. "Who's that?" Leo asked. The question hung in the air. Maya looked at Dante, saw the desperate hope in his eyes, the careful control he was exerting not to move, not to scare the child. "This is—" She took a shaky breath. "This is Dante. He's an old friend." "Oh." Leo studied Dante with the serious intensity of a 3-year-old. Then he smiled, that same devastating smile his father had. "Hi, Dante. I'm Leo. I'm 3.5. Do you like dinosaurs?" Dante's lips trembled. When he spoke, his voice was rough with emotion. Yes. I like dinosaurs very much. I have a T-Rex. He's the best. Wanna see?" Before Maya could intervene, Leo walked right up to Dante and grabbed his hand, his tiny fingers wrapping around one of Dante's. The sight made Maya's eyes burn with tears. Dante looked down at their joined hands like Leo had just given him the entire world. Slowly, carefully, he let Leo lead him toward the bedroom. "This is Bruno," Leo announced, holding up a plastic T-Rex. "He protects me from bad dreams. Mama says everyone needs protection." "Your mama is very wise." Dante's voice was thick. He knelt down to Leo's eye level. "He's a very fine dinosaur. You can hold him if you want. But be careful. He bites." Leo demonstrated by making the dinosaur chomp at the air. Dante took the toy with reverence, and Maya watched as he blinked rapidly, fighting tears. "Leo," Maya said gently. "It's late, sweetheart. Back to bed." "But Mama." "Bed. No. We'll talk more in the morning." Leo pouted but obeyed, climbing back into his bed. "Will you be here tomorrow, Dante?" Dante looked at Maya. She saw the question in his eyes. The plea. "Yes," she heard herself say. "He'll be here tomorrow." Leo's face lit up. "Cool. Good night." Maya tucked him in again, kissing his forehead. When she turned, Dante was still standing there, holding the plastic dinosaur like it was made of spun gold. They walked back to the living room in silence. "He looks exactly like I did as a child," Dante said quietly. "My mother used to say I had eyes like midnight. Now I know what she meant. Dante, we need to establish some rules." "Marry me." Maya's heart stopped. "What?" "Marry me." He turned to face her, and the intensity in his expression was almost frightening. "Let me give you both everything. Protection. Security. My name. He's a Moretti, Maya. My heir. The moment people find out he exists, he'll be in danger. But as my wife, under my protection." "Are you insane?" Maya hissed, mindful of Leo sleeping down the hall. "You can't just propose marriage like a business transaction." "Why not? We have a child together. There's already chemistry between us. You can't deny that. And I—" He stopped, swallowed hard. "I want to be his father. I want to watch him grow up. Teach him things. Protect him. Please. This is crazy. We barely know each other. Then let's change that." He caught her hand, his thumb stroking across her knuckles. The touch sent heat rushing through her. "Give me a chance. Not for me. For Leo. He deserves a father. He deserves a father who wants him because he loves him, not out of obligation." "I already love him." Dante's voice broke. I looked at him and felt my entire world shift. "That's my son, Maya. My son." I didn't even know it was possible to feel this much this fast. Maya's defenses crumbled, because she understood that feeling. She'd felt it the moment Leo was born. "If I agree to this," she said slowly, "there are conditions." "Anything. This is fake. A marriage on paper for Leo's protection. Nothing more." Something flickered in his eyes. Disappointment? But he nodded. "If that's what you want. And you don't make decisions about Leo without consulting me first. I'm his mother. I have the final say." "Agreed." "And if this doesn't work, if Leo is miserable or I feel unsafe, we end this. No questions asked." "It will work." He pulled her closer, his free hand coming up to cup her face. "I swear to you, Maya Rodriguez, I will spend every day earning your trust. Both of you." His thumb brushed across her cheekbone, and she forgot how to breathe. "I'm going to kiss you now," he murmured. "If you don't want me to, say so." She should say no. Should push him away. Should protect her heart. Instead, she whispered, "Okay." His lips met hers softly at first. Tentatively. Like he was afraid she might disappear again. But when she responded, when her fingers curled into his jacket, the kiss deepened. 3 years of longing poured into it, of questions and what-ifs and stolen moments. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dante rested his forehead against hers. "I'm going to make you fall in love with me," he whispered. "I don't care how long it takes." Maya's heart hammered against her ribs, because part of her was terrified that she'd never stopped loving him at all. The wedding happened within a week. Not because Dante was impatient, though he was, but because his enemies moved fast. The moment word got out that Dante Moretti had a 3-year-old son, the vultures began circling. Maya stood in front of the mirror in Dante's penthouse, staring at her reflection. The wedding dress was simple, elegant ivory silk that draped perfectly. Modest, beautiful, and more expensive than 6 months of her rent. "You don't have to do this," she whispered to herself. But the memory of the car that had followed her to work yesterday said otherwise. And the men Dante had stationed outside Leo's daycare. And the threatening note someone had slipped under her apartment door. "Tell Moretti his bastard won't live to see 4." She'd shown Dante the note with shaking hands. The fury on his face had been terrifying. Within an hour, her and Leo's belongings were being moved into his penthouse. Within 2 hours, 20 armed guards surrounded the building. And within 3 hours, someone had sent a message back to whoever left that note, but she hadn't asked what kind of message. "Didn't want to know." "Mama, you look like a princess." Leo bounded into the room, his tiny tuxedo slightly askew. Dante followed behind him, impossibly handsome in a black suit. Their eyes met in the mirror. "You're beautiful," Dante said quietly. "It's just a dress." "No, you." He came closer, and she saw the dark circles under his eyes. He hadn't slept. Had spent the past week coordinating security, calling in favors, making threats. All to keep them safe. "You take my breath away, Dante. I know this isn't the wedding you dreamed of. No flowers. No guests. Just a judge and some witnesses. But I promise," his hand found hers, "when this is over, when the danger has passed, I'll give you the wedding you deserve. If you want it." She wanted to resist, to keep her walls up. But the sincerity in his eyes was undoing her. "Can we go now?" Leo tugged on Dante's sleeve. "You said I get to be the special boy today." "Ring bearer," Maya corrected with a small smile. "You're the ring bearer." "That's what I said." The ceremony was brief, clinical. The judge spoke the traditional words while Dante's most trusted men stood as witnesses. Leo took his job seriously, carrying the rings on a small pillow with intense concentration. But when Dante slipped the diamond band onto her finger, a ring that probably cost more than everything she'd ever owned combined, Maya's breath caught. "I know this is just paper," he murmured, quiet enough that only she could hear. "But I'm making you a promise anyway. I will protect you. I will protect our son. And I will earn your trust, however long it takes." "You may kiss the bride," the judge announced. Dante's hand cupped her face gently. "May I?" She nodded, not trusting her voice. The kiss was soft, reverent, but underneath it she felt the barely controlled hunger, the want, the promise of more if she'd just let him in. "You!" Leo's voice broke them apart. "Kissing is gross." Everyone laughed, breaking the tension. But the relief was short-lived. Dante's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his entire demeanor changed, hardened. "What is it?" Maya asked. "Nothing. Just business." But his jaw clenched. "Marco will take you and Leo to the safe room. Now, Dante." "Now, Maya." The command in his voice sent chills down her spine. Before she could protest, gunshots erupted outside. The windows shattered. Dante tackled her to the ground, his body covering hers as glass rained down. Leo screamed. "Marco!" Dante roared. "Get them out!" But Marco was already moving, scooping up Leo while 2 other men surrounded Maya. They hustled her toward a hidden door in the wall, and she fought every step. Dante. What about Dante? I'll be fine. Go. The last thing she saw before the door sealed shut was Dante pulling a gun from his jacket and moving toward the shattered windows with deadly grace. The safe room was soundproofed. Reinforced steel walls. Air filtration system. Enough supplies to last days. And absolutely no way to know what was happening outside. Leo sobbed in Maya's arms, his little body shaking. I want Dante. I want Dante. He's okay, baby. He's okay. She repeated the words like a prayer, rocking him. Marco stood by the door, one hand on his weapon, the other on his earpiece. His jaw was tight. How bad? Maya demanded. 3 SUVs. Maybe 15 men. They hit the lobby first. He listened to something through his earpiece. Boss took out 4 already. Is he? He's fine. Angry, but fine. Marco almost smiled. I feel sorry for whoever ordered this hit. The boss is creative when he's protecting what's his. What's his? The words echoed in Maya's mind. 10 minutes passed like 10 hours. Finally, Marco's posture relaxed. It's clear. We can. The door burst open. Dante stood there, blood spattered across his shirt, a cut above his eyebrow. But alive. Oh. Dante. Leo launched himself from Maya's arms. Dante caught him, clutching the boy to his chest. I've got you. I've got you. His eyes found Maya's over Leo's head. Everyone okay? She nodded, not trusting her voice. He set Leo down gently, murmuring something in Italian, then crossed to Maya in 2 strides. His hands framed her face, tilting her head up as he searched her eyes. This is my world, he said quietly. This is what I tried to protect you from 3 years ago by letting you go. This violence. This danger. And I understand if you want to leave. I'll give you money, protection, new identities. You and Leo can disappear somewhere safe. Shut up. Maya grabbed his jacket, pulling him down until their foreheads touched. You think I survived 3 years of poverty, 2 jobs, and single motherhood to run away now? We're in this together. All 3 of us. Something blazed in his eyes. Maya. But you're teaching me to shoot. And self-defense. If I'm going to be a Moretti, I'm going to be able to protect myself and my son. Our son. Our son, she corrected softly. Dante kissed her then, fierce and desperate and claiming. And for the first time, Maya let herself kiss him back without holding anything in reserve. When they broke apart, Leo was watching them with his head tilted. Does this mean no more kissing is gross? He asked seriously. Dante laughed, a real laugh that transformed his entire face. I'm afraid you'll have to get used to it, Piccolo. Okay. But only 'cause you're my dad now. The word, dad, made Dante's breath catch. Maya watched as he knelt down to Leo's level. I am. And I promise, Leo, I'm going to be the best dad I can be. I'm going to keep you safe. I'm going to teach you important things. And I'm going to love you and your mama for the rest of my life. Leo threw his arms around Dante's neck. And Maya felt the last of her walls crumble. Because this dangerous, violent, impossible man had just given them something she'd never had, a family. 6 months changed everything. Maya stood on the balcony of the penthouse, watching the sun rise over New York City. The engagement ring, the real one Dante had given her 3 months ago, caught the light. A flawless diamond surrounded by sapphires. To match your eyes, he'd said. Behind her, she heard the coffee maker and quiet voices. Dante and Leo in the kitchen making their Saturday morning breakfast, a tradition they'd started. Dad, you're burning it again. Leo's exasperated voice carried through the open doors. I am not burning. Okay, maybe a little. Mama says you can't cook without superpowers. Your mama says a lot of things. Maya smiled. Over the past 6 months, she'd watched Dante transform from a man terrified of breaking his son to a father who couldn't imagine life without him. He'd learned to braid hair, poorly, mastered bedtime stories, complete with voices, and never missed a chance to scoop Leo up and pepper his face with kisses. But it was the quiet moments she treasured most. Dante reading legal documents with Leo curled up asleep on his chest. Teaching Leo basic Italian. The way his entire face softened whenever he looked at their son. And the way he looked at her, like she was the center of his universe. Mama, Dad made pancakes. They look weird, but he says they're dinosaurs. Leo raced onto the balcony, grabbing her hand. Dante followed, flour somehow in his hair, holding a plate of something. Those are definitely not dinosaurs, Maya said, fighting laughter. They're abstract dinosaurs. Very modern. He set the plate down and pulled her close, one arm around her waist. Don't crush my artistic vision. Your artistic vision looks like blobs. They're abstract blobs. Leo giggled, climbing onto a chair. I love you guys. The simple statement made them both freeze. We love you too, Piccolo, Dante said softly. After breakfast, Dante pulled Maya aside. There's something I need to tell you. Her stomach dropped. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. The opposite. He took her hands. The Alvarez family, the ones who ordered the hit on our wedding day, they've been handled. Permanently. And I've brokered peace agreements with the other families. They've all accepted Leo as my heir. That's good, right? It's more than good. It means you're safe now. Both of you. He paused. Which means you don't have to stay married to me anymore. If you want to leave, I'll... Maya pressed her finger to his lips. Dante Moretti, are you trying to get rid of your wife? Never. Dio, never. But this marriage, it started as protection. And now that you don't need protection anymore, I want you to choose. Not because you have to. Because you want to. Her heart swelled. You idiot. That's not. I choose you. She rose on her toes, her arms wrapping around his neck. I've been choosing you every day for the past 6 months. I just was too scared to say it out loud. Maya, I love you. I love the way you are with Leo. I love your terrible cooking. I love how you look at me like I'm something precious. I love that you learned to braid hair even though you're terrible at it. I love... He kissed her, cutting off her words. Deep and thorough and full of promise. When they finally broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. I've loved you since the moment you vanished from that hotel room. I spent 3 years looking for you. And when I found you again, when I saw what you'd built, how strong you were, how you'd protected our son, I fell even harder. His thumb brushed across her cheek. You're it for me, Tesoro. The only one. Forever. Forever, she whispered back. Does this mean we get to have a real wedding? Leo's voice made them jump. He stood in the doorway, grinning. Were you eavesdropping? Maya asked. Dad says good businessmen know everything that happens in their house. He walked over, hugging both their legs. So can we? Have a party with a big cake and flowers and stuff. Dante scooped him up. The biggest party you've ever seen. With dinosaur decorations. And can I have a brother? Leo asked hopefully. Or a sister. I'm not picky. Maya's cheeks flamed. Dante's eyes darkened with heat. One thing at a time, Piccolo, Dante said, his voice rough. But the look he gave Maya over their son's head promised that particular conversation would happen very soon. That night, after Leo was asleep, Dante led Maya to the bedroom. But instead of the passion she expected, he held her close and simply talked about his childhood. His mother who'd died when he was 12. His father who'd tried to make him into a weapon. "You've made me human again," he whispered into her hair. "You and Leo. You gave me something I didn't think I deserved, a family, a home." Maya tilted her face up to his. "You gave us the same thing." When their lips met this time, it was different. Not desperate or claiming, but sure, certain. The kiss of two people who'd found their way home. 5 years later, Maya stood in the same spot on the balcony, but everything had changed. The penthouse had been redesigned, warmer now, lived in. Leo's artwork covered the refrigerator. Family photos lined the walls. And the sound of laughter filled every room. "Mama, Sophia took my dinosaur again." 8-year-old Leo's voice carried from inside. "Did not." 3-year-old Sophia's indignant reply followed. "He gave it to me. Dad, tell her." Dante appeared on the balcony, Sophia perched on his shoulders, her dark curls bouncing. "Your sister says you gave her permission." "I did not." Leo stopped, seeing Maya's look. "Okay, maybe I did. But I changed my mind." "That's not how it works, Piccolo." Dante set Sophia down gently. "You gave your word. A Moretti's word means something." Leo sighed dramatically but nodded. "Fine. She can play with Bruno. But if she breaks him..." "I won't break him." Sophia hugged her brother fiercely. "I love Bruno almost as much as I love you." Leo's annoyed expression melted. Okay. Come on. I'll show you how to make him roar properly." They raced off together, and Maya felt Dante's arms wrap around her from behind. "Remember when you were terrified to trust me?" he murmured against her neck. "Remember when you couldn't cook pancakes?" "I've gotten better." "Debatable." She turned in his arms, looking up at the man who'd changed her entire world. Gray touched his temples now. New lines crinkled around his eyes when he smiled, which he did constantly these days. "Any regrets?" he asked softly. Maya thought about the scared girl who'd run from a hotel room 3 years ago. The single mother working 2 jobs. The woman who'd been too afraid to hope for more. Not a single one. She kissed him softly. "You. Only that I didn't find you sooner." His hand rested on her still flat stomach, their 3rd child growing inside. "But we have forever now to make up for lost time." From inside, they heard Leo teaching Sophia one of Dante's Italian phrases, probably something he shouldn't be teaching his little sister. "Leonardo Dante Moretti." Maya called. Dante laughed, the sound rich and full. "That's my boy." "Our boy," Maya corrected, the same words they'd said 1,000 times. "Our boy," Dante agreed, pulling her close. "Our family." And as the sun set over New York City, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Maya realized that sometimes the best things in life came from the most unexpected places. She'd left something behind that night 3 years ago. But in return, she'd found everything she'd ever needed. And so our story ends. If you connected with this journey, leave your like and share it with someone who you think will love it too. More stories are coming. See you in the next one.